Hello everyone and welcome back to the OK channel. Today we've got Fremont Reformation presents April Apocalypse, a new tournament that we're going to be running. And for now I will hand you over to Jeff, who will explain the ins and outs of the tournament.
Thanks. Yeah, we're excited to get another tournament launched here. We had the last one took a couple months of running and was pretty complicated to set up and define and design, but we went sort of simple and streamlined this time. So there's no ban list, no restricted list, nothing about factions, just kind of you got the whole set of cards to work with. We even allowed warp jump style cards, which have not been officially allowed in WizKids tournaments for quite some time. So we'll see if anyone thought to do that.
Yep.
We went with a theme of a bracket tournament in honor of the college basketball March Madness that just finished a couple weeks ago. So we're gonna figure out the bracket here, and it'll be set in stone, so you'll know who you play if you advance in the tournament. Anybody who doesn't get to play two games is invited to play in a second chances tournament. So we can make sure everyone gets two games in. And that's all I can think of. Do you have anything else, Nick?
No, I think some members of the community have certainly been calling for an event of this type for quite some time now. I'm thinking, last year, and I think it's a good thing to do every now and again as well, just to kind of see if maybe certain banned cards, because what I found, speaking personally, going back through the ban list and sort of thinking, okay, so shall I just use a bunch of banned cards? And as I was looking at a lot of them, it was like, well, actually, some of these have been kind of fixed since then, in one way or another. There's been a good counter
Mm-hmm.
to it, and some of them maybe don't necessarily deserve to be on the ban list anymore. And hopefully, after this tournament, we might sort of see maybe there might be a few, maybe newer Romulan cloaking device, a few new cards that might need to be, nerfed in a way or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
Who
think
knows?
there's going to be a lot of chaos in this one. I think.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Um,
A real apocalypse. We'll see how that goes.
yeah. In terms of numbers, I think we've got. I think it's probably just worth addressing that we've got sort of slightly less than our usual sort of average sort of tournament turnout. But I think, speaking from several people myself, and I think same from you, I think it just happens to be coincidence really at the moment with time of year and a lot of people busy. I know a lot of people who would have liked to have participated but just can't due to commitments and such. So,
Yeah,
if
yeah. I didn't get the sense that anyone was turned off by
no, not at
the
all.
style of the event or how things have been going. People seem pretty pleased with how events have been going. So yeah, the numbers will just fluctuate.
Yeah. So, with all that said, I suppose we should look at pairing up the first three matches. Those who do not get buys, who have submitted sort of later than the rest, and let's go through their fleets. So, without further ado, let me head over to the screen. As you can see, the tournament bracket that we've got going on. So we've got the first three matches of round one, which hopefully won't take too long to get scheduled. Then we can move into a proper round two. And yes, right, Jeff.
Yeah.
So
So just to briefly cover the numbers, we got 11 players submitted, and based on the rules, the final six submitted players are part of round one. So on the left half there, you'll see spots for six people, and over on the right is the other five people. So I've got two little piles of cards here, one with six cards and one with five cards. So I'll shuffle up the six here, and then I guess we can just deal them out. And as you can see from the white lines on the screen, the winners, the 3 winners of these matches will advance to face someone else in round 2. And we'll see the other 5 people in a bit. But yeah, let's look at the first match here.
Right,
So
match 1. We have
Scott
versus
against Dan.
Dan. Okay, we got a bioship list. I can
Which one do you want to talk about?
I'll talk about Scott's actually.
Okay, sounds good.
So let me head over into my fleet breakdown. So Scott. Here we go. Right. So as you can see, Scott is running a Ducat's Bird of Prey. We haven't seen those for a little while. But we're also running basically the standard Ducat's Bird of Prey. We've got animated core. He's giving an extra attack dice. He's keeping you cloaked because he's Klingon on a Klingon ship. He's also adding an extra hit. So he's just lots of attack dice. He's just perfect for it. DNA encoded messages. We've got some talent slots under there. 3, in fact, talent slots under there. So he's going to be adding a lot of gimmicks to this Ducat's Bird of Prey. A tactical command reticle for even more dice. So at the moment he's chucking out 6 plus an extra hit. He's got Ferengi photons. So we haven't seen Ferengi photons too much recently either. Mainly because we've been doing a lot of faction pure type events, but certainly Ferengi photons were a problem at some point last year, where we were seeing a lot of Ferengi photon abuse. People shooting them across planets, people using them to spam a lot of auxiliary power tokens onto ships, completely shutting them down. And Goldemar, I would imagine for the most part, he's there for the captain skill. And we've got a captain skill of 10 there, so it's a high captain skill. He'll have reposition about a lot of other ships. And speaking of reposition, we also have the USS Sovereign. So this is one of the new Sovereign class ships in one of the most recent packs. This one says that if it's got an admiral, you can perform its action as a free action. So in this case, he's using Maxwell Forest, so he's going to have an additional 1 maneuver, whether that's a straight, bank, or a turn, every single round. Not to mention, he's got dual action Picard. And you'll notice on here that he's actually got a captain skill of 13. Now, if I'm correct in thinking, it's actually going to be a captain skill 12 because of the rule of 3. So he will have Riker is boosting him by 3, Forrest is another 1, but he can only have a maximum of 3 there. So he'll be a captain skill 12, I would imagine there. But that is still incredibly high, especially with reposition. It's going to be very hard to pin him down. So he's running the Federation prototype. Torpedo Bay gives him extra slots and re-enables his things quicker. And those things will be more Ferengi photons. So again, he can double tap you with auxiliary power. He's also got the new type of Federation photons. This one is time tokens, and he's got 2 copies of those. So basically, he can have the Federation photons every turn, and provided he's got a target lock, which he should get with dual action Picard, he can have basically maximum efficiency with his rolls because he's converting blanks to battle stations and just spending the battle stations. He's got something hidden under Quark. Sakana, again, we think we banned Sakana in
I think so, yeah.
in Web
Quark, Sakana.
Yeah, so
a lot of these haven't seen in a while, right?
Again, Sakana, you wouldn't think that she's particularly useful, but for her price and what she saves you, she is just brilliant. So yeah, we've got, again, high captain skill, reposition. He's going to be chucking out at least 6 dice for basically every attack with maximum mods. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, he's got a Valdor class, just a generic one, but he's running the new Shinzon. So it's like dual action Picard, provided he's cloaked. He's also giving the Romulans a battle stations as well. Navala, who is absolutely fantastic, is giving him a battle stations. Sorry, not a battle stations. A captain skill of 12. And of course, we've got the Romulan cloaking device, the new one, which basically gives him a free sensor echo action every round, provided he's cloaked. And it's using the new 1 and 2 banks sensor echoes as well. And to top it all off, he's got a flanking attack, which adds 2 dice because he's a Valdor class. So again, it's chucking out 6 attack dice at Captain Skill 12 with reposition. That's basically the gimmick of his list. He's got reposition, Captain Skill, and full modification. So it's a very, very strong list. And it's going to be very hard to beat that reposition, I think.
Yeah, those captain skills are a little imposing, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Especially when even Spud's overcompensated with with the USS Sovereign, making it a 13.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it definitely is only 12.
Yeah. So Dan W, I'll just bring up his list now. And yep, away we go.
Okay. So this is a fun idea. We haven't seen bioships in a while. It didn't really work in the Fleet Pure one. I guess no, actually it could have. Anyway, it's interesting to build to 120 because bioships you kind of want to load them up to 50 points each, so you only have 20 points left. So what Dan has done here is he's got 2 massive bioships. The first one with double action Picard and biological technology, which is kind of like technological distinctiveness in that it lets you build up mission tokens, but it doesn't cost you an action, so you just kind of sit there and it happens. 1 token per turn in the planning phase. And not only can you use it in offense, you could instead choose to use it in defense. So that's really nice, although unlike technological distinctiveness, you have to actually spend the tokens. But yeah, he could easily be throwing out 8 dice attacks with both ships. He's got a higher shield, so a 12 durability on this ship, and one of the cheap species upgrades that came with the Bioship Omega, the 1-point organic conduits to let him use a treat a red maneuver as a white one if you need to do one of those hard turns or come abouts. His little ship is the Talvath, which has 3 tech slots, and he's making good use of those 3 tech slots to put out 3 cloaked mines. Oof. So that'll be interesting. And Mendak, the famous Romulan source of battle stations, Shinzon provides a little more now for Romulans, but it used to be that Mendak was one of the only real ways to get battle stations on your Romulan ships. So that will address one of the downsides of bioships is that they don't have battle stations. So one or the other of those is going to be getting extra quality on its attack. 3 cloaked mines, that's going to be a big pain.
Yeah.
That's another one that has been restricted recently. But that'll be fun. Sometimes a challenge to put out all 3 from one ship, but maybe you split it into a couple turns worth of doing. That'll be interesting to see. And of course, the other big heavy bioship, the bioship Alpha, which hands out an ox if it does at least 3 damage. Gen Con, who will be happy to see those high captain skills over the board with Scott, because he will get it as well with a replacement. Another organic conduits to give you a little more maneuverability with that red turn. Another biological technology and more shields. So some, I guess that's the name ship. So it has 8 shields instead of 7 for the other. So those ships are going to be really hard to take down. They've got the special action to repair hull damage if they want to keep them alive even longer. So that's going to be interesting. Even with Scott's high captain skill, it's hard to imagine that he'll kill the bioships fast enough before they can kill him back. So I'm not quite sure what to expect there. I guess, like you said, Scott trying to get out of Arc will be the big challenge.
Yeah.
If he can manage that, and how the bioships position themselves and how the cloaked mines kind of steer ships where Dan wants them to go. So yeah, that'll be a fun battle.
It's definitely massive boost for Dan that he's gone Khan. That certainly against Scott, who's sporting those high captains. That's going to be huge. On every other turn, he's going to at least get to well, he doesn't have the reposition necessarily, but Scott won't get to see where that alpha is going. So
Oh, I see. Yeah, when he
yeah,
does his echoing or whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
or his extra forest.
and those mines as well. That's board control right there. That's sort of, that says to Scott, right, you want to reposition, but I'm gonna, box you into a corner with these mines, and you're gonna have to tank some damage if you want to reposition around me.
Right. Right.
So yeah, no, I
And
look forward to seeing that one.
of note, there is yet another Scott versus Dan battle. We had that in the playoffs, and we had that in the regular part of last tournament, and now the cards flip another Scott Dan battle. So hopefully they're not getting too tired of that matchup.
Okay, so that's match number
All
one.
right.
Let's have a look at see who's in match number two.
Okay, match number two. It's Tristan getting to run Romulans for once there, and TJ. So a classic Romulan Klingon battle.
So Tristan versus Tristan, isn't it?
Oh yeah, good point.
I
That's
think
right.
we've had a Tristan off before, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. I think that was TJ's very first game here was, and that's why we go with the moniker TJ here to avoid confusion with Tristan.
Yep.
Tristan's.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Uh,
shall I talk about Tristan?
yeah, go for it. So let me just bring that up first. And there we go. It's on screen now.
Okay. So Tristan participated last event. She submitted as the one that could either be Romulan or Federation, and because of the numbers, she ended up having to run just her Federation fleet, and so that meant she didn't get to try out the new Romulan gadgets, and so finally getting to this time and how Romulan cloaking devices will be quite present, starting with Sayla's Warbird. So this is one that it can basically echo twice if it's already cloaked. And the same is true of the other D-Deredics. So definitely another maneuverability fleet. Shinzon Captain with lots of action economy. Romulan cloaking device for those banking echoes. Interphase will always be annoying to face on these ships. The special additional weapons array that gives extra dice to D-Deredexes. Riemann Helmsman, this is one I don't think we've seen yet. It's one of the new cards, but gives you the option to change your maneuver at the last second. Sakona and Aft Disruptor Emitters, again, the new version of it, just like we saw with Scott's fleet, that Aft Disruptor Emitters has, it's a time tokens one rather than disabling. So basically letting that D-Deredex shoot even if all the maneuverability tricks haven't put it in arc for shooting at someone. So that's the one D-Deredex with lots of maneuverability. And she also brought the other one with lots of maneuverability, which is Twilight's Wrath. If an enemy ship performs an action, then you can perform an additional echo. And since it's Romulan cloaking device, it can be a bank echo. So that's going to be another crazy maneuverability ship with lots of the same upgrades on it as the other one. It's worth mentioning here that Romulan cloaking device says you may use a banking echo, and so that means you can only do it once per round. So you can't do a bank echo and a bank echo, but you can do one or the other as a bank. And so that's going to be a super maneuverable ship,
Cool.
and it will definitely be echoing every round if possible in order to give Laris that battle station and the plus dice. So that's going to hit a little harder than the Deredex sometimes do.
Yep.
And the last one is another ship that's annoying to face on several levels. The Talshir Scout, which can steal a token and give it to a friendly ship instead, and comboed with Aladar Jarak, who, if you get too close to him, he will tell you what you have to do as your action, and something on your action bar that's not a regenerate. And so that can break up all kinds of combos. And also you see there's Vorik on the ship who can also take away tokens from enemy ships. So this one will play havoc with some of the fleets out there. It's worth noting that Tristan is a particular expert in the use of Aladar Jarak. She won a big regionals at Fremont back when we were playing in person through stellar use of Aladar Jarak. So it's nice to see that back in a Tristan fleet. And Esri, I guess, will let that happen every time. Usually Aladar Jarak is every other round, but Esri will let you only place one time token on it. So it's a nice support ship to play havoc with enemy fleets. And glad to see Tristan getting to have fun with Romulans this time, since he had to go all fed last time. So that's Tristan's fleet.
Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to make a comment on that Riemann Helmsman as well. I absolutely love that, and I think that's a great inclusion with our reasonably high captain skill of 9, and the ability to, especially being on a Dideridex, having a white 1 reverse as an option that you can reveal. Well, you can do when you reveal is just, that's fantastic. Just little 2 points, but that can be the difference in a game. That sort of maneuver.
Oh, that is Dideridex class, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's a
it makes
white
it white.
1
I was thinking
reverse
it
that
was
you can just
Raymond.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, and it's not discard or anything like that. It's just disable. So if if he wants, he can use his free action to re-enable. Oh, well, he can use his action to re-enable it, and that. So.
Oh, from Shinzon, right? Yeah, so it's a good choice with the action economy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I can really see that Riemann Helmsman being the key to this list. As even better than Romulan cloaking device, because reverses are just, they can be so big.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at TJ then. Funnily enough, I haven't really seen TJ's list yet. I haven't looked at it. Right, okay, so we are running, what's this? 5 Katingas. Absolutely love it. So we've got a proper full-on Romulan versus full-on Klingon list here. We've got, as you can see, 5 generic Katingas, and it's the captains. They're all running reinforced hull, which is one of the new Alliance 2 cards. I did suspect we'd see a fair bit of it in this tournament. It's probably the best card in the new Alliance 2 pack, simply because you can apply it to any ship, provided you're willing to pay just an extra 1 point faction penalty. But it's going to buff up a lot of hulls, and having a 6 hull Katinga means that being cloaked isn't such a bad thing for the Klingons anymore. And
you do have to have a 4 hole in order to run it.
Yes,
4+ hole.
Yes. So yeah, you can't go sticking it on the old science vessels, unfortunately. That would be handy. Give them a bit of longevity, but
sure.
But yeah, no, it's a really neat card, especially for 2 points, 3 with the faction penalty. But where this list really comes together is with its captains. We've got some pretty famous ones here. We've got Martok, who is giving out extra attack dice. We've got Gowron, who's giving out extra attack dice. We've got Gul'Taran, who is giving out extra attack dice and defense dice. And I think Gul'Taran is going to be fantastic for this game against Tristan, because you choose a faction, and of course I can see TJ choosing Borg naturally. And then we've got Picard. So Picard's there with dishing out those battle stations, but the recently unbanned Esri Dax is going to be allowing Picard to give out those battle stations every single turn. And then finally we've got Donatra for an extra +1 attack dice. So looking at this, we've got four extra attack die. Obviously, rule of 3 is going to come into play somewhere, but depending on TJ's deployment, will he could fly 2 separate squadrons or fly it all together. It'd be really interesting.
Or as ships start dying, you can still nevertheless get the +3 from the survivors.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's true. So Tristan does have the I would say probably the captain skill advantage and the reposition advantage, but TJ's got the numbers, the attack dice to back it up, and some longevity as well there. So no, this good old slugfest, that one.
Yeah, a swarm of 6 whole ships. That's quite something to see.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So
not know what to expect there.
yeah. Right. So back over to screen one, and we'll see the last of the round one pairings.
Okay. Nick
Me.
against Stray.
Interesting. Okay. So I'll let Jeff talk smack about my list now then.
Sounds good.
Let's go.
With pleasure.
Right, on screen.
Okay. Okay, more bioships, which I love to see. It's fun that 2 different players went with the double bioship fleet, although in a different way, somewhat. So what Nick has gone with here is the bioship beta, which has tremendous defensive skills and offensive skills. So it's a really nice ship for 50 points. You've got the bioship beta, which can take an ox to cancel a hit. You've got higher hull from reinforced hull, as well as reinforced shields to cut down on damage. So that, in conjunction with the bioship beta, is great. And if you do use that bioship beta ability, then when you get to the end phase, you can go ahead and remove the ox that you took and also repair a shield for your troubles. So this is a ship that is going to be really hard to tear down if you can't do it all at once. And with that reinforced hull, it's got 13 durability just from the start. So it's really going to be a hard ship to kill. And the problem is it also has really good offensive abilities because Tomahawk, a great combo there with all of the techs on the ship. Tomahawk's going to get 4 rerolls whenever he's attacking. So that's going to be a bit of a problematic ship to take down. Also, the organic conduits to give you a little more maneuverability. So that's a great ship. I love the bioship beta. Whenever I run bioships, that's definitely where I go first. But there's another one as well. So this one a little different. It's a generic bioship. It is also a 50-point ship. It's got Car to give an extra attack die and a little bit of extra quality for that double reroll. The reinforced shields to make it harder to tear down gradually. Lone Hunt for another extra attack dice. So this ship could easily be rolling 8 dice if it's off by its own. And I guess a nice combo with the Lone Hunt, which I hadn't noticed, is Fluidic Space. So you can see on the card there, it's got a little OP symbol with a strike through on it. That's because WizKids several years ago decided to ban all of the warp jump style cards where you could pick up your ship and then put it somewhere else on the playing area. That was banned sort of for scoring reasons, but it doesn't really make as much sense anymore, and the cards are pretty expensive anyway, so we decided that it was harmless to try and allow them again. So Nick is the first one we've seen here. His Fluidic Space will let his bioship just leave the board and reappear somewhere else on the board, which will go well with that Lone Hunt, having it stay alone. So Nick, I'm sure you've been busily thinking about tactics to use it, and that's something a lot of us have never seen. I've never run a warp jump style card, so that one will be fun. And for 20 points, his third ship is an RSV. This one is not piled full of cloaked mines, but it does have 1 cloaked mine. This ship is obviously intended to hand out battle stations to those bioships. This combo that we've seen several times recently of 2017 starter set Picard, who every other round can give a battle station to everyone, and Esri combos to make that every round instead by putting 1 fewer time token on Picard. So that's a great combo. 1 cloaked mines to do some movement control of the other ship, and it looks like a 1-point card there, Parim, to I guess protect the techs on one of the other ships that's going to need to defend or or Tom Luck hang on to his techs. So yeah, I love the double bioships. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I have no idea how those will do against Dre, but why don't we look at Dre's fleet?
Okay, let's bring up Dre's. I tell you what, it might be best if you talk about Dre's as well, since he's my opponent.
Yeah, that's fine. Sure, that makes sense.
Yep,
It,
on screen.
okay, so this is a fleet after my own heart. It's a fleet where one ship gets loaded up with extra stuff from a shuttlecraft and then goes into battle, maybe on its own, maybe just with one other ship. So the Queen Vessel Prime. This is Dre's invention, as far as I know. The idea of putting first on the QVP, which a lot of times what you see is Borg Janeway go on this particular QVP because she starts out with 8 and then adds to it in each end phase, gets another drone token. So you get up to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. But Dre thought of putting Croesus on this ship. So first is going to start as 6 plus 3 of a 9 captain skill and then just get higher and higher and higher. Technological distinctiveness is a card we haven't seen in a while because it's been on the ban list. The reason it went on the ban list is it's really strong. If you stall or fly around for a little bit or whatever, just get your 3 actions in somehow, you can turn this 6 attack dice ship into a 9 attack dice ship. And unlike the biological technologies that we saw for the bioships on Dan's fleet, this is one where you don't spend the tokens. So basically, once you've got it up to 9, it's sitting there at 9 for the whole game. So that ship can become a real problem. His support ship is the Devwool. This is another fun one, a pretty new one. I think, did that come in the Blood Oath?
I think it was, yeah, Blood Oath.
I'm not sure. Yeah. So various Fremont people have discovered over the months that there's a neat combo that you can do by putting Maress on this ship. So you have a Klingon upgrade. Whenever you're attacking, you immediately disable that Klingon upgrade, and the ship's ability lets you place a battle station. And then Maress, because you're placing a battle station, immediately undisables that Klingon upgrade. So it's just sort of this magic way of producing a battle station at no cost. And so that's a great combo. He's got a somewhat lesser used Martok, but it's a nice choice. This is the one that gives discounts for Klingon upgrades on your ship rather than the other Martoks, the Martok 9, which hands out plus dice, or the Martok 8, which hands out extra attacks. But that's a good choice here. He's got some of the new cards. Eye for an Eye is really a fun one. If you have someone in your arc and they deliver you a critical damage, you can turn around and give them back a critical damage. I actually played a test game against a version of this ship, and I was down to 1 hole and wanted to attack them, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't attack them because they're just going to attack me back if I give them a crit.
Ooh,
so
nice.
It's a very problematic card. Reinforced hull, good to see that in use. Torpedo fusillade, specially designed in case anyone thought to bring a swarm or a multi-ship fleet out there.
TJ's counting his blessings right now.
Yeah, that's right. That could have been ugly. Maress and Worf to boost this Martok up to 10, and something devilish hidden under Cork. And finally, a Sakharov, a shuttlecraft with Captured. This is a great combo. Cal Hudson captured on a Sakharov is a very popular thing when there is no ban list because you can fit so much stuff on it. The Sakharov gives that special discount, so he was able to fit Drex on the ship at a cost of only 2. A lot of times you wouldn't be able to fit Drex on the shuttlecraft. He's bringing Croesus to help his first captain that we saw already. Gornale, in case the Sakharov needs to actually attack. Chemosite for the extra movement. That's probably going to go on the QVP. And Sakona with additional phaser arrays, probably also going to go on the QVP. and in fact, that works great with the captain that Trey has chosen, because you can disable additional phaser arrays to take a second primary weapon attack, and then turn around and in the next round in the activation phase first can just remove that. So it is endless additional phase arrays, endless 9 dice primary weapon attacks. So that is a little bit of a challenge to face.
Yep, bit of a mountain to climb.
I'm sorry, say that again?
A bit of a mountain to climb.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't quite know what you do with that. It does take time to build up those attack dice on the QVP. So do you rush it? Do you suddenly pop in out of nowhere? I don't really know. So that'll be an interesting challenge for that bioship fleet. Definitely.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of our first round games. We've got 3 there. And hopefully we can get them scheduled and played sooner rather than later, so we can move on and give some of these round 2 participants a game. So
yeah, so
yep.
These were the first 5 players to submit. 3 of them have to wait to learn their opponent until they can see who the winner of that first round game is. And 2 of these 5 will be playing each other.
Okay.
So the winner of Scott versus Dan will advance to face Jack.
Okay.
That's a good, wholesome Fed fleet there. Do you want to talk about it, Nick?
Yeah, okay. I'll have a look at Jack's fleet. So we've got Jack running a USS Sovereign, which we've already seen on here. It's the new one that allows you to use the Admiral fleet, the Admiral action. It doesn't look like he's got an Admiral on this particular ship. So
a Federation prototype ability too.
That's it, yeah. So if he's equipped with the Federation prototype, he gets an extra defense dice. So that, coupled with reinforced shielding, is going to be basically a bit more tanky than your usual Sovereign. We've also got we've got a Federation prototype. We've got the Picard dishing out battle stations, and we've got Esri Dax. So we've got that lovely combo there. So that's going to be pretty good to have that. I'm going to assume supporting his other ships as well. We've got Type 10 phasers, absolutely fantastic, and great to have on the Sovereign. And he's got that because of the Federation prototype adding an extra weapon slot. That would be there. So Lasker, what's Lasker doing? I haven't seen that one before. Place 2 time tokens on this card. Target a friendly ship or this ship within range 1, provide it's Federation. Flip a face-up damage card face down. If it's got a Federation prototype, you can even repair a hull. So we've got some decent for 1 point. That's pretty decent. That's potential regen, if not protection against crits. So that's pretty handy to have. Overall, it's chucking out minimum of 6 dice with those Type 10 phasers. He's got the rerolls, he's got the battle stations, and it's just a bit tankier Sovereign. So very nice. And speaking of tanky, well, we've got a USS Sutherland, the tank, with Rudy Ransom, who's buffing it up.
The tank commander.
I know it all too well. Reinforced shielding. We've got a dorsal phaser array just to cover that blind spot. We've got a Riker as well for extra defense, and Shelby for the rerolls in defense as well. And I mean, they don't really need to say much more than that. I mean, the Sutherland is a tank. He's got defensive rerolls plus lots of extra defense dice, and the hull and shields to back it up. So Sutherland looking very nice there. And of course, we've got another sort of staple, really, one I'm very familiar with, Sao Paulo, coupled with the wharf that allows you to convert blanks to a hit if you spend a battle stations. But you get that battle stations back consistently with the Sao Paulo's ability. We've got reinforced shielding instead of ablative hull armor. I always sort of toss up. I think the reinforced shielding probably is just that little bit better than the ablative armor, just because it gives you a guarantee of 2 extra HP rather than the ablative potentially being nullified by, you just getting wiped out in one single shot.
Oh, right.
But we've got, making use of the 2 weapon slots on the Defiant class, we've got Type 10 phasers. So that's going to be buffing it up to 4 attack dice with full modification, although I suppose Worf's got that anyway. And we've got Zial as well, which is fantastic. It's expensive, but if you can pull it off, if he gets that thing close, not only is he cancelling an attack, but he's also making an attack against his opponent. So Zial, very, very, very interesting one. I hope to see it pulled off, but you've got to get to that range 1, and that's where his opponent's going to be sweating.
Right.
So that's Jack's fleet, and that will be against either Scott or Dan's bioships. So that'll be an interesting one. They're both chucking out a lot of attack dice, but Jack's got a lot of defense going there, so that'd be good contrast.
Yeah.
So moving back to the that's not the right one. There we go. Moving back to the main screen, we will have, so the next match will be able to be played right away, I suppose.
Yeah. And you can see that once Jack has an opponent and someone wins that game, the white lines off the right tell you that they will be facing the winner of this next game, this next matchup, which is between Dylan and Kilo.
Okay, yes, Dylan and Kilo. I'm liking the look of that Borg there. Did you want to talk about Dylan, and I'll take Kilo?
Sure. Sounds good.
Dylan's is on screen.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at Dylan's fleet and trying to figure out what I would do against it, and coming up blank a little bit. It's a good, wholesome Fed fleet. He's got the USS Prometheus, the new one with all the discounts, and the new Romulan Captain Ricard, who functions very well on a Fed ship because of his ability to roll extra dice with non-Romulan weapons. We didn't get to see Ricard in his element of being on a Fed ship because the last event was you had to either be Fed pure or Romulan pure. But this is where he really belongs. Federation prototype allowable on the Prometheus to give all those discounts. Harry Kim, who I don't think we've seen, although he does seem like a pretty nice card. He's a new one from Ships of the Line to help you remove Oxes if you do have a scan hanging around in the end phase. And with the Federation prototype, also can repair. So that's a great card for 2 points.
For regen is, pretty good.
Yeah, assuming you can get a scan somehow. So we'll have to see where that's coming from. I'm sure it's somewhere. Regenerative Shields, another Prometheus-specific card, gives you extra shields and shield repair. Probably 2 shields, especially if Harry Kim just took care of your Ox. So that's a great combo there. Ablative Hull Armor, another Prometheus-specific one that converts crits to hits and also lets you stack up damage cards. The first 3 hull damage you would take go under this card instead. And even nicer than some of those other similar cards out there, this one does not discard once you've accumulated all that damage. So it still provides the protection to convert crits to hits. So that's really nice. Multi-vector assault mode, the 4 dice where you can attack 3 times on your attack. So we haven't seen that used too much, but I'm looking forward to seeing it here, and it will be an option to attack every round because Benjamin Sisko can remove a disabled token from a weapon equipped to this ship. So he can disable to use it, and then at the start of the next combat phase, he can make it available again. Navala to give extra captain skill to Rakar, and Rakar, as I said, will be great on this ship, giving an extra die on the roll for that multi-vector assault mode. So it'll be rolling, I guess, 5 dice, unless there's other stuff from friendly ships. So it's a very well-designed 50-point Prometheus. I'm looking forward to seeing that thing in combat. Another big ship, the USS Sovereign, coming in at 48 points with double action Picard, boosted up to 10 by Theodorich Patterson, who can, strangely enough, as a free action, he can place a scan token beside a target ship. So that could well be where Ricard will get it. And that's a free action because that admiral is on the Sovereign. So that's great. Also benefiting from the Sovereign's ability to roll an extra defense die if it has Federation prototype. Task Force Commander, which I have to admit, as a Romulan player last event, that was one of the cards I least wanted to see across the board, just because it's great. It helps ships with attack and defense, gives them a target lock. So that target lock, I guess I can't use that for his own ships, right? No, this ship and the target ships. So can get a target lock just in time to turn around and use it with the Fed torpedoes. And William Riker from the Hood to give extra defense. So this is another great ship. Another ship that's gonna, I guess it doesn't quite have as much defense as some of the other ones, but it's gonna be a pretty hard hitting ship. And it has some stuff. I guess it has the ship ability and Federation prototype and Riker. So that's probably enough to survive long enough to do some serious damage. And the third ship is a Saber class. I don't think you ran one of these, Nick, did you? In your Saber, your
not
various Saber swarms?
not the Da Vinci, no.
Yeah. This ship is a little worrisome for enemy fleets because at the start of the combat phase, as long as it has a scan, and it'll get a free one from Donald Varley, you can place a time token on an enemy ship, which basically nulls out its ship ability for the rest of the combat phase. So that will be a little challenging for certain fleet designs that really rely heavily on the ship ability. He's got those Type 10s, as I'm sure you know, making use of the 2 weapon slots on the cheap Saber. So that'll be a good one. And Savik, who can give you great defense quality as long as you are hanging out near a planet. So that's a really nice fleet. It's a good fed fleet, and I think it'll do well.
Something else that Da Vinci can do as well as shutting down a ship ability is also disabling a weapons system.
Oh, yeah. Shut down a weapon or disable on the target ship. Yeah.
So speaking as someone, I think Jed ran this the other day and would have absolutely loved to have disabled my Thalaron weapon when I was facing him in Flight Club. But
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's the only other time I've really seen it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, the barley combo is nice too.
Yeah,
right?
That's a proper strong fed list, that is. Right, let's have a look at this Borg list. Very interesting. So, spheres, gotta love them. We've got Sphere 634, combat phase. Spend a scan token beside this ship and target an opposing ship within range 1 to 2. Discard a scan, battle stations, evade, or target lock token beside the ship. So that's just passive, that is, provided he's getting that scan token. But that is something that is going to be really good for its longevity, because a lot of these fleets, as we've seen so far, they're giving themselves battle stations, but if that Borg sphere is ripping that battle stations away, suddenly those hits become very average. We've got ocular implants, which is when he performs a target lock, he gets a free battle stations. And we've got kind of, it's not dual action Catherine Janeway, but he's getting tokens from other ships who are getting tokens. We've got distribution nodes, which is all about repairing, and that's passive as well in the activation phase. For 1 point, you can't go wrong with that. We've got the Borg Galaxy class, which is always great to see on the Borg, with the Borg Queen, who can copy another captain's ability. So in this case, either Khan or Catherine Janeway.
Yeah, it has to be Janeway because the spending a drone token has to be part of it.
Gotcha. Right. So, 2 versions of Catherine Janeway should be really interesting. We've got some shield adaptation and Borg multi-adaptive shields. Again, we're just talking about lots and lots of durability here. And 7 of 9 is helping to make the Borg ablative hull armor. God, even that as well. So just a really tanky Galaxy class that's going to get
combo.
Yeah, it's going to get lots and lots of tokens from Catherine Janeway as well. And finally, on top of that, we've got a lovely little, I'm not going to say it's Borgified, but it might as well be, the USS Reliant. We've got the independent version, which allows him to disable shields to gain attack dice. We've got the Khan, that is effectively its own battle stations, but he gets to have a crit as well. And 2 follower of Khan's, which, provided he's not cloaked, which he won't be, disables all his remaining shields, target a ship range 1 to 2 that is not cloaked and has no active shields, and discard a crew of your choice. So he can basically use... so he has to discard. So he's basically can delete 2 crew from Dylan if Dylan loses his shields. He wants to stay away from that Reliant, I think, because I think Dylan was offering up quite a lot of crew to be deleted there. So 2 incredibly tanky Borg ships there, and a little Reliant that's just going to be, you're damned if you shoot it, you're damned if you're not, because
I like the theme on the Reliant too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's consistent.
Very consistent. Love it. Very tanky Borg ships there. So yeah. Right. Moving on to the next match, which will be the winner of match number 2. So the winner of Tristan versus TJ, and they will face David W. David W. and his Dominion.
He's been waiting and waiting to be able to run Dominion.
Oh, I know.
Very patiently.
Yeah. So David W. Very much a staple Dominion player, and I might as well have a little chat about David's. So first up, we've got the pre-lock, which is giving out attack dice to all friendly Dominion ships. And the one thing I'll say about Dominion is that they synchronize so well. Most of their abilities are about helping other Dominion ships.
All those named ships, yeah.
Yeah, that's the theme that we'll see along all of these. We've got dual action Gul Dukat, who is boosted to a Captain Skill 9 by Gul Madred. And Gul Madred is going around deleting captains depending on their skill level. We've got a Tactical Command Reticle, which is just making that pre-lock hit even harder at 6 dice. And Lamata Clan is giving out extra rerolls. That's it for 2 points. It's just some converting one blank to a hit when attacking. If it spends its target lock token to reroll its attack dice. Yeah. Okay, so it's just kind of a backup to your target lock if your target lock fails.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's good to have. So yeah, the pre-lock, and obviously, passively dishing out +1 attack die. So, you don't have to run an RSV with an archer, you just run pre-lock. That's backed up by the Kraxon. What the Kraxon likes to do is take damage on behalf of other ships. We've got a female changeling captain. I'm used to seeing the admiral female changeling, but we've got the female changeling captain, which is decreasing her captain skill if she wants, but she performs an action, crew action as a free action, as well as her own. So it's dual action, provided it's for Dominion. So in this case, it could be Talactalan, which is discard and target all friendly ships, and they all get a battle stations, which is fantastic. We've got Shroud allowing that to come back and do it a second time. We've got, as Haz likes to call him, Duran Duranadar, which basically allows him to do a red maneuver, which basically compensates for the Galore's pretty poor dial. If I'm honest, the fact that it doesn't get those hard turns is pretty rough on the Galore class. Probably why we don't see all that many of them. But Duran there is to help that out.
Sure.
Invaluable advice is discarding, but again placing battle stations, which is something that the Dominion sorely lack. Breenade is pretty good for the conversions. You can convert a blank to a hit, provided you've got a scan token. And obviously we've got Galore shields to help with the Kraxon taking extra damage. And then finally we've got the Orius, which I absolutely love to see. Whether or not he will be using its main ability remains to be seen. If there are only Dominion or Romulan cards equipped to the ship, he gets to cloak and sensor echo on his bar. But when a friendly ship performs a range 1, so it's only going to be that first part that he's able to use, but he will be able to cloak his Keldon class. Wayun is adding extra slots, and we've got Bohica, Goldamar, which is boosting Wayun up to a 9. We've got Victory as Life, which is extra battle stations and attack. Shroud is there to keep Gullbroker. He's got 2 copies of Shroud. So we've got Gullbroker, who's adding all ships +1. And
we're going to see a lot of gold brokers, aren't we?
Yeah, so we got basically like 3 copies of Gullbroker there. So basically the theme of this list is lots of plus attack dice. The Kraxon, wherever it sits in that little formation, is going to be tanking a lot of the damage away from the Prelock and the Orius potentially. But he's given himself the ability to gain all of those hits as well. So and there's so it's tanky, reasonably high captain skill, chucking out a lot of attack dice. So yeah, love the Dominion. All right, so that leaves our final participant, which
I figured out who it is.
Yeah, I wonder who it could be. So the winner of myself versus Dre is going to be against good old
Jeff.
Jeff. And what's that he's running, I wonder? Maybe I should have a look. So moving into the fleet breakdown, we have good old Jeff. So Jeff is running a Weapon Zero. For those of you who don't know Jeff, pretty sure this is the only ship Jeff thinks exists in Star Trek Attack Wing.
Yep.
And I think you pretty much only know that Maltz is the only card in Attack Wing. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. That's where I start.
So, yes, me and Dre should fear this because Jeff is an absolute pro at Weapon Zero now. And what Jeff does is loads that thing up so that it is dishing out maximum of everything. So we've got Tane, who is allowing him to perform an attack in the activation phase, which is going to be pretty scary. We haven't actually seen any other activation phase attacks in this tournament.
You're right. That's funny.
Yeah,
I thought we would see a lot.
No, you're the only one running it. I almost brought a fleet that was all about attack in the activation phase, but it didn't really have legs past that. But yes, no, you're the only one running it, and to be honest, it's a banned card we have unbanned for this tournament, and that's for a very good reason because, of course, in the activation phase, especially with Jeff being a low captain skill, he'll be able to move first and perform this attack before his opponent has built up their tokens or performed any defensive actions that they need to perform. So that's where
that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that's where Tane is very useful. And then obviously not to mention that, but he then gets to perform an attack in the combat phase as well. So it's a way of performing 2 attacks, but one of them just a bit more deadly as well. The Weapon Zero, we're going to assume, might be running a little bit on its own and benefiting from Lone Hunt. So it's already chucking out 6 dice. Now it's chucking out at least 7. We've got a torpedo fusillade to compensate for the fact that it is mainly just 2 ships that are going to be dishing out offense. But if that torpedo fusillade comes up against multiple ships, it's quite easily compensates for the lack of numbers. And we've got a shroud on there, which at the moment doesn't look like it'd be doing anything, but we'll see. We've got a Type 7 shuttlecraft, so pretty sure that we're going to see this docking on the old Ball of Death and transferring another Lone Hunt across, as well as some Gornail. So Gornail is a great thing to pop on there, especially if you want to do activation attack things, because you're lowering your captain skill, meaning you're going to be moving earlier, but you're also gaining extra attack dice as a result of it. So we've got 2 Lone Hunts plus Gornail, so of course Jeff has to adhere to the rule of 3, but still, it's just that thing can at least chuck out 9 dice if it wants. We've got the I've got to try and pronounce this, Kea Fet Amonsor. I think I did all right there, for defensive rerolls. But again, it's a low captain skill, which is what Jeff really needs for this particular one. The Sakona is there just to add slots. Biomimetic Gel. I think we might have had a discussion about Biomimetic Gel. But Biomimetic Gel is an activation phase gimmick, which
it's a card that lets you put a token on a friendly ship's crew, and then you can use that crew ability on your ship. So if I left something on the other ships, I can still use it.
Right. Okay. So we've got Biomimetic Gel, which is activation phase. Therefore, it will be benefiting the Weapon Zero in the activation phase when it will be doing its attack. So very useful there. And then we've got just an incredibly overweight Ducat's Bird of Prey. Calvin Hudson has been banned until now, and the reason for that is because he can make this happen with many, many, many cards. So Ducat's Bird of Prey on its own is, not too shabby. It's giving you dual actions provided it's cloaked, basically, 2 tokens effectively. We've got Esri Dax. Obviously, it's back in there. It's going to be removing the time tokens from multiple different abilities, I would imagine. Toral for defense. Legion Crew module, which is giving extra tech slots. We've got Julian Bashir, works really well with Lennon McCoy, allowing Lennon McCoy to reveal a hidden card, but Julian Bashir will activate it a bit sooner. What we do see on here is we do see a Maltz. So Jeff, who is you are the leader of the House of Maltz, correct?
House of Maltz, that's right. Thank you for the mention.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a portable transwarp beaming device. Was that banned, or is that just I'm not too familiar with that one, so
It doesn't get used very much. Yeah, but it does let you save somebody from discard and move to another ship. So if you have somebody you want to use twice,
right. No,
wait for that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Until the other day, I hadn't really seen much use for cryogenic stasis, but on the weekend, playing in person, someone used cryogenic stasis. Very handy to have as well, because you get both of the crew underneath. Lots of hidden cards in there. Once they've been revealed, they might stay on Ducat's Bird of Prey. They might move over to Weapon Zero. But basically, you've got a good support ship there, but you've got this just gigantic ball of death that is chucking out potentially 2 attacks in a turn. Torpedo Fusillade can also mean multiple attacks as well for each of those. So yeah, it's just stay away from the ball of death. It's a scary prospect, to be honest. It's probably chucking out. Well, it's chucking out equal to the maximum amount of attack dice that anyone can really get with the rule of 3 at the moment. So yes, that'll be interesting to see if myself or Dre end up having to face that. So there we have it.
All right. Well, so it looks like there's 4 matches that can happen right away, and 3 of us have to wait for the winner to get to us for our round 2 match. But this looks like it'll be a fun one. I'm excited at the variety in the fleets. We had just Fed and Romulan last time, and some types of fleets here that we really haven't seen in a while. The Borg and the species; those are both fun.
Yeah, definitely some nice combos. Actually, there's quite a few standouts for me somewhere in there as well. I still have to go back to that I think Tristan one that I was talking about, the Riemann reverse. That's pretty
right.
good, that one.
I certainly enjoyed when I was building my fleet because there were so many cards back on the table. It was like, wow, I have not been able to use this card in months and months. So that was fun.
Yeah,
I'm glad to do an unrestricted event here.
I have a feeling the warp jump cards they won't need banning again. I really don't think so.
I think so too.
And I think there was a couple of other cards I came across. I mean, probably for another time, but technological distinctiveness. It'd be interesting to see. We've got quite a few people running it for this tournament, but considering how hard Borg are to run these days, technological distinctiveness could just be that thing that keeps them playable. So
right.
Depending on if the technological distinctiveness lists run away with this tournament, then we know that they're still pretty overpowered. But if we don't see them wreaking too much havoc, then it might be something to allow the Borg just that little bit of comeback, maybe.
Yeah, kind of like Romulan cloaking device makes Romulans much more playable, and
exactly.
We got to judge. Is that overdoing it, or is it nice to have the variety in there?
Yeah, it's I just think I've got a friend who really likes to run Borg, but the problem is just they're so expensive and it's hard to make them playable. Although, as we can see in some of these lists, it is definitely possible, but certainly technological distinctiveness being added back has
Yeah.
allowed for that to happen. So yeah, it might be something that we
Right.
can keep unbanned afterwards, but we'll just wait and see, won't we?
Yep. Yep. So we're just basically in a mode of collecting data and watching how it is. And for now, there's nothing banned. And if we see a need to, maybe we'll take action. But for now, people can run free.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks for running that down with me, Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
And everyone can start planning their matches, and certainly 3 people can start analysing the games that they're going to see beforehand. And everyone at home, thank you for watching, and I look forward to announcing the round 3 pairings with Jeff in a few weeks' time. So
Sounds good.
thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Cheers.